All right, folks, I just ordered this OG Bikeworks electronic wireless gear shifting system for the mountain bike from the Kickstarter campaign, and I wanted to show you my experience. Right here we have a bike with a 11-speed Shimano XT group set, probably from about 10 years ago. It is mechanical shifting, as you can see, and it works quite well. No issues with shifting from a mechanical standpoint. So first thing I'm going to do is start disassembling the mechanical shifting components, and then we'll begin our installation. All right, so what I've done is I've removed the XT shift pod, the cable housings, and the cable, just so we can do a sort of weight comparison. So if you can look, I've put the cable housings, the cable, and the shift pod here on the scale, and as you can see, it measures at about 148 grams. So I've opened up the package from OG Bikeworks, and it comes with the following items. Here's our handlebar mount, mounting hardware with various adapters to fit the wireless shift module to the derailleur. We've got our bar shifter, or finger shifter here, and we've got our wireless unit. So to give you an idea of how much all this is going to weigh, that's about 66 grams. With the shift pod, that adds about 25 grams or so. We won't measure the hardware of this. So now we're up to about 104 grams. So we actually do lose a little bit of weight over the Shimano XT 11-speed system. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mount this shift pod onto the handlebar. I'm not going to completely tighten it. You're going to need 4mm Allen key here. Now what's interesting about this design is that it looks like it clamps on and holds the shift pod all with one screw. I'm going to use the middle hole for now until we can adjust it later. I'm probably going to end up torquing this down to about 6 Newton meters, just because that's the recommended setting for, that's pretty typical for carbon handlebars. So for now, just going to kind of make it tight enough that it's on there securely but not fully torqued down. So we'll leave it there for now. All right, next I'm going to go ahead and put my brake back on. Shimano XT lever. Once again, this is about, I think these are around 2015, 2016 vintage. I marked with white marking paint on the alignment on my brake. So that's going to require a 4mm as well, just Shimano, and I've placed the shift pod where I think it will work well with this setup, where my hand will be located. Actually, I might rotate this a little bit. So once again, I'm just going to get this tight enough that it will stay in place for the moment, and I'll torque this down after we've tuned everything up and adjusted it. Next we'll put the grip on. I'm running these ergons. So I think that will work. It's definitely a little bit farther out than the Shimano shifter was. It's too bad you couldn't recess it a little bit closer to the bar. So ergonomically, I think this is going to be not quite as nice as the Shimano shifter, but we'll find out once I start riding it. This style of Shimano XT derailleur does not have a threaded barrel here. So what they have done, OG has included this right here and this piece right here. So this is going to thread in your derailleur, and you're going to need to probably use a small socket or something to get this in. Be very, very careful with this and make sure that it goes in straight. Once that's in there, then what you'll do is this guy go in like that, and it will screw in that. So that will be inserted in there, this here, and then finally your shift pod will interface right there. But first things first, on these non-threaded derailleurs that don't have a barrel thread on them, you're going to have to thread this in. Yes, it's probably going to sort of cut some threads into your derailleur, so you definitely want to get this right. I would almost suggest using a little bit of cutting oil or WD-40 as you're putting this in. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, I've got a 7mm here. I've got a little bit of WD-40 sprayed on this to use as a cheap cutting oil. So I'm going to start this by hand on threading, and when I feel it start to cut into the metal, I'm going to see if I can continue the process with this 7mm right here. So I'm just looking, trying to make sure it's going in straight. It's definitely not going to be an exact science here. It's definitely tight. I'm going to go pretty slowly because I don't want to break anything. And I broke it. So not everything goes perfect. I did end up breaking the head off of this, unfortunately. But the good news is I've got plenty of thread inside of the derailleur here that I think this is not going to be a problem. But definitely the point of no return if I ever wanted to convert this derailleur back into a cable actuated derailleur. So, all right, so next step is we're going to go ahead and feed the wireless shift module bolt and I don't know what you would call this, maybe a mounting nut in here. Okay, and it appears it's gone in there as far as it will go. All right, next step, we're going to take the shift module, the wireless shift module, thread it through, and then go ahead and tighten this up. I'm going to orientate it like this for now, so I can easily get to the charging port. And Interesting. Well, all right, next I'm going to take the cable. If you want to bring the camera around, I'm just going to go ahead and thread it through. If I can do it. And for this Shimano, I think it's a 4mm as well. Okay, the kit does come with a end cap for the cable, but I'm not going to install this yet until I've done a little bit of preliminary tuning. Okay, so you need to install the app. You can follow those instructions, not in this video, but in another video that maybe OG produced, or maybe I'll do it. The tuning is a little finicky, but you need to start in the smallest cog, which the app refers to as 1. Put this in the home position, and then you start tuning it from there. And this is 11 speed, obviously, so you tune each gear. You start at 1, and then you stop at 11. But just a quick tune for this Shimano XT setup, each gear was about 3mm apart. I didn't do a lot of fine tuning, but it took me maybe 5 minutes to get it this way. Now, we should mention this at the beginning, but you need to make sure that on doing this in an existing bike to have your limit screws set up properly, and the shifting, the assumption is that the shifting was working quite well as a mechanical arrangement. But just to demonstrate, shifting is pretty fast. And it works pretty well. And this is with the clutch of the derailleur on currently as well, in case you're wondering. But yeah, you can see it needs a little bit of fine tuning, but otherwise it does a pretty good job. So that's how I set this up. I'll probably adjust this a little bit more from a mounting standpoint, because I am a little concerned of how far out this sticks. I mean, if I take a hard fall, it's probably going to damage this setup pretty bad, so I'll try to arrange this in such a way that it is as close as possible to the bike. But anyway, OG Bikeworks wireless shifter, pretty cool tech. It works. Thanks for watching.